Initially, the story was very simple. 5 Austrian skiers went on a trip to Georgia. They'd heard there might be snow there. They knew the Caucasus mountain range is in Georgia, and so the story could be true. Georgia's not exactly famous for its winter sports, but 7 months on, everybody has heard of the country. Not because of the heroic adventures of the 5 riders, but because of the war. And that complicates the story, makes it less simple. Are the places they visited still Georgia, or do they belong to another country now? What can we say about this? So let's just start this story at the beginning. It's March 19th, 6 o'clock in the evening. 5 riders land at Tbilisi International Airport. The outside temperature is 21 degrees Celsius. When the tourism department heard about the plan to make a Freeride film in Georgia, they cooperated straight away. They immediately arranged a bus and driver, which was great since after a night in Tbilisi, the hunger for snow grew and grew. The first ski area they will cover is Bakuriani. With an altitude of only 2,150 meters and the current outside temperature quite high, it doesn't seem like an area which would guarantee snow. After a journey of almost 3 hours, the first signs of a ski resort start to appear, and the first snow. Bakuriani was once where the Russian Olympic team trained, but that seems a long time ago. Watched by the locals, who seem very surprised that the 5 riders are staying in their village, the 5 settle in a pink guest house, with a view over the slopes, once upon a time the territory of the Russian ski team. In the far distant past, the owner of the guest house used to be one of those ski racers. If Hauni understands her story right, they are just unlucky. Normally there should be plenty of snow at this time of year. There is, however, a brand new ski lift which takes you to the highest peak, which will definitely be covered in snow. It's true, there is a new ski lift, but it's not working today. Maintenance, they say. However, the fact that there is no sign of any other skier in the area could also be a reason. Fortunately, the driver of the Pistenbully is willing to take the 5 riders up. After he drops them off, Chris is the first to decide to hike up even further in search of more than 2 centimeters of snow. Hauni follows, and also Hoerhager, although it seems he won't be using his parachute today. It is Kolibri and Hoerhager who are the first to slide down the Caucasus. Chris has so little speed in the wet snow, you can hardly call it skiing. However, he makes his first descent. Away in the whiteness, they spot Hauni. Chris and Kolibri find a place where they can build up some speed, and Phil too makes his first descent. If this is to be a film about skiing, it's looking bad. If it's to be a film about Georgia, it's looking bad as well. The weather forecast for the coming days can be read from Kolibri's expression. So, we say bye-bye to Bakuriani. The hospitality was heartwarming. Although the plan was to stay 2 more days, the warmth of Tbilisi is more attractive than the rain of the Caucasus. Departing Bakuriani so suddenly creates an extra day in Tbilisi, a good occasion to experience daily life and culture in the capital. The next morning, the Freeriders leave as early as possible. It's the weekend and they need to be out in Gudaurii before Georgia's skiing crowds. Otherwise, they will be stuck in traffic jams for hours. According to the weather forecasts, there should be plenty of snow at the moment. Hopefully, for there are only 3 days left before the journey ends. They manage to reach the resort before the ski lift opens. And although everything seems normal, and neither Chris's nor Phil's face shows worries about the weather, something happens which you wouldn't quite expect in a ski resort. The lift remains motionless. And the reason why is very hard to find out. Hauni finds somebody who speaks English, or at least a little English, and tries to explain that they would very much like to go up the mountain. Phone calls produce no results. The ins and outs of the Georgian tourism industry seem convoluted. Until somebody sees a sign with opening hours. And these are quite different from what you might expect. And then there's snow. Not fresh, not powder, but enough for a soft landing. And Hoerhager can finally open his parachute. Halfway through the day, things warm up and the snow gets too wet. It's time to get into some Georgian après-ski, which turns out to be quite similar to our own. Two days to go. Yesterday, Koller discovered a ski lift which might lead to some interesting descents. But oh dear, this lift is also motionless. Later, they're told this is because the number of skiers is so incredibly high and the level of their skills is so low. Add in the alcohol consumption and it is for safety reasons that the lift and black slopes remain closed. Fortunately, they've met somebody who knows someone who has a friend who knows someone else with a pista bully. was a beautiful day. Not the perfect day, but a day on which skiing was possible. And because there is no forecast of more snow, tomorrow should be much the same, for there is only one day left. But for this day, the tourism department has a surprise for the 5 riders, a day with no ski lift problems. The ski area of Gudaury goes up to 3,000 meters, but it's surrounded by summits of over 4,000 meters, all of them begging to be ridden.
The filmmaker's idea was to shoot this film on 8mm stock, which gives the film a specific look. This helps the story. A film needs a story, and now the filmmaker gets his story. Through an open zipper in his backpack, he loses all the film rolls of that day. Everything gone. But here's the story. In this gigantic Caucasus, we find 4 of the 5 film rolls. Not the filmmaker, us. The story saved by skiers and an old army helicopter. Watch this.
The story goes that Georgia was once God's own paradise. However, shouldn't this paradise have powder snow and high cliffs? And endless descents and lifts that run whenever you want? Wasn't the paradise right then to be found in Austria, where it was really snowing? Never mind. 5 riders heard a tale of snow in Georgia and went there. The tale turned out to be true. There was snow in Georgia. Sometimes wet, sometimes hard, but they have ridden it. Paradise is not a place, it's what you do with it. The violence now seems to be over. Georgia is slowly recovering. Should you go there? It is your decision. The people would love to welcome you. And somewhere in the mountains, there is one lost roll of 8mm film. You might find it. And that would be the story of a story of a story.